and they have confirmed that these chips are being sold to China.
Senator.
I mean, this is very disturbing. One estimate, not according to the Center for a New American Security, it estimates that the median number of A1 chips being sold already to China at 12,500. Isn't that correct?
Senator, any diversion of our controls would be a matter for export enforcement, and we are tracking that very closely.
But you're not aware that 12,500 have been sold?
Senator, we track all sorts of data through our analytic capabilities to understand illicit procurement networks. That's very important to our work.
But you don't
it's something
know
we're
about
cracking down on.
12,500?
I can't speak to the specific report that you're referring to, sir.
Well, you need to read the paper. No disrespect.
What you just watched is classic Senator John Kennedy. This exchange shows Senator John Kennedy pressing Biden administration officials over something that should be very simple. Advanced Nvidia AI chips are restricted from being sold to China. That is the policy. So the obvious question is, why are they allegedly still getting there? When Senator John Kennedy asks direct questions, the answers should be direct. Instead, what we saw was deflection, uncertainty, and a lot of passing responsibility to someone else. And when Senator John Kennedy said, "You need to read the paper," that was not just a sharp line. That was real frustration. Welcome back to Congress Lens. I'm Audrey. If you care about government accountability and making sure national security policies are actually enforced, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. Now let's get into the full exchange.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rosen, and thanks to all of you for being here. Mr. Rosen, Nvidia makes probably the most advanced artificial intelligence chips, does it not?
Nvidia does produce advanced chips, yes, Senator.
And those chips are highly coveted because they can perform the massive computations needed to train AI systems, don't they?
I believe so, yes, Senator.
Yeah. And we have export controls on those chips, do we not?
We do, and that's a process led by my colleague, Ms. Kendler.
And we prohibit those chips from being sold to China. Is that correct?
I don't know exactly what chips are prohibited, defer to Ms. Kendler, but I know there are controls on the export.
You don't know whether the advanced Nvidia artificial intelligence chips are prohibited from being sold to China?
So, Senator, my understanding is that they are, but that is export controls. It lies with my colleague at the Department of Commerce.
So how come we're selling them? We're allowing them to be sold to China?
Senator, I would respectfully defer. I don't oversee export controls. I oversee inbound investment into the United States.
Well, you control investment security, don't you?
I do, and as
all right, let me ask Ms. Kendler, how come we're allowing them to be sold to China?
Senator, our advanced computing controls from last October and the October before, they're absolutely targeted at the most advanced chips, as you noted. We are controlling them for export to China, and we look together with Department of Defense, Energy, and State at where they're going.
Yes, ma'am, but if you go on the internet, you'll find 70 distributors, not 70 distributors, which will sell Nvidia's supposedly restricted chips to China. And in fact, some of them will sell to China the entire servers. They cost about $300,000 a piece. They've got 8 chips in them. Isn't that a fact?
Senator, I'm not familiar with the website that you're referring to, but what I can tell you...
I'm referring to 70. Do you read the Wall Street Journal?
On occasion, yes.
You should read this article. They've identified at least 70 distributors, and they have confirmed that these chips are being sold to China.
Senator...
I mean, this is very disturbing. One estimate, not according to the Center for a New American Security, it estimates that the median number of A1 chips being sold already to China at 12,500. Isn't that correct?
Senator, any diversion of our controls would be a matter for export enforcement, and we are tracking that very closely.
But you're not aware that 12,500 have been sold?
Senator, we track all sorts of data through our analytic capabilities to understand illicit procurement networks. That's very important to our work.
But you don't
it's something
know about
we're cracking down on.
12,500?
I can't speak to the specific report that you're referring to, sir.
Well, you need to read the paper. No disrespect. These chips have been sold, and it's been confirmed, to China's most elite universities. They've been sold to the state research powerhouse, Chinese Academy of Science, haven't they? Do you know anything about that?
Senator, we look at license applications and determine whether they're consistent with national security. If it's not consistent with national security, we do not approve it.
Well, all you got to do is go on, get your computer out, and go on Google and search, and you'll find 70 distributors that are selling these restricted chips that you're not shutting down. And the Wall Street Journal has confirmed all of this.
Sir, we would add entities like that to our entity list as a regulatory action. We would also
But you haven't done it yet.
We would also have our enforcement colleagues investigate these kinds of allegations.
Were you aware of this before I raised it today?
Senator, I certainly am aware that when our laws are effective, illicit procurement networks stand up to violate them.
Were you aware of these 70 distributors and the thousands and thousands that have been sold right there on the internet in front of God and country, bigger than Dallas? Was your agency in charge of enforcing this aware of that?
Senator, I'd be happy to connect you with our enforcement team to talk about this in more detail.
Team?
Yes, sir.
I mean, who's on first? What's on second? We've got export controls here. And all you got to do is go on the internet, and China buys them.
The export...
Are you aware? Were you aware of this before I raised it today?
Senator Kennedy, you've made your point clear. I share your concerns. I think this is one reason why BIS needs more funds. Senator Smith from Minnesota is recognized.
Well, can I just say one more point?
You certainly may.
I don't think they need more money.
Well,
I think they need people that talk to each other and know how to use an internet and know how to read articles in the Wall Street Journal. This is not, you don't have to be an astrophysicist.
After watching that entire clip, I have to say this clearly. Senator John Kennedy was right to push harder. He starts by laying out a basic fact. Nvidia produces some of the most advanced artificial intelligence chips in the world. These chips are essential for training powerful AI systems. That makes them strategic assets, not just commercial products. Then Senator John Kennedy asks a straightforward question. Are these chips restricted from being sold to China? The first response is uncertainty. Matthew Rosen says he believes so but defers to someone else. That is already concerning. If you are in a national security role connected to investment and technology, you should know whether the most advanced AI chips in the world are banned from export to China. Then Senator John Kennedy turns to Thea Kendler. Thea Kendler confirms that advanced computing export controls are in place and that the most advanced chips are targeted. That sounds reassuring at first. But then Senator John Kennedy brings up reporting from the Wall Street Journal. He says at least 70 distributors are allegedly selling restricted Nvidia chips to China. Not 7. 70. He mentions entire servers costing around $300,000, each packed with 8 AI chips. He references an estimate from the Center for a New American Security suggesting that about 12,500 advanced chips may have already reached China. That is not a small oversight. That is potentially a major enforcement failure. And what do we hear in response? I'm not familiar with that report. I can't speak to that specific number. We track data. I'll connect you with our enforcement team. This is exactly why Senator John Kennedy said, you need to read the paper. When a major publication reports that restricted chips are being openly sold through dozens of distributors, that should already be on the radar of the officials responsible for enforcement. It should not be news to them in a hearing. The moment that really stood out to me was when Senator John Kennedy asked directly whether they were aware of this before he raised it. There was no clear yes, no clear no, just more institutional language. Senator John Kennedy's frustration made sense. This is about China gaining access to advanced artificial intelligence capabilities. These chips can power military research, surveillance systems, and cutting-edge development. If export controls exist on paper but are easily bypassed in practice, then the policy does not mean much. When an official suggested that the Bureau of Industry and Security needs more funding, Senator John Kennedy pushed back. He said it is not about more money. It is about agencies talking to each other. It is about awareness. It is about actually reading major investigative reporting. It is about basic competence. That line landed. Enforcement against illicit procurement networks is complicated. There are shell companies, third-party resellers, and complex supply chains. No one is pretending this is easy, but that is exactly why the people in charge need to be fully informed and coordinated. Senator John Kennedy was not asking for anything unreasonable. He was asking whether the rules on the books are actually being enforced. In my opinion, this is what oversight is supposed to look like. Clear questions, specific numbers, named sources, direct accountability. If the United States is serious about limiting China's access to advanced AI hardware, enforcement has to be real. It cannot just exist in policy documents. It has to show up in action. Let me know what you think. Was Senator John Kennedy justified in his frustration, or do you think the officials gave reasonable answers? This is Congress Lens. I'm Audrey. I'll see you in the next one.